Hey, it's Keith Benzel back with another episode of Rooftops and Rent Rolls. And I want to talk to you today about how to attract the most gold medal tenants possible so that you're not costing yourself thousands of dollars in unpaid rent and damages to your property. Stop going after your gut feeling to rent a property and actually follow this 10-step process on how to qualify a tenant for your property, right? So we're going to get started here. I call it the perfect tenant filter. So if you follow this, it will filter out those bad tenants. Of course, it's not 100% bulletproof, but we try our best by following this and not going off of our gut. So number one, you have to pre-screen them before you even show the property. You should ask them 3 questions up front before you even take the time to drive out there to show them a property. Number one is, do you have income? Number two, do you have any pets? And number three, when do you want to move in? If it's today, it's probably going to be a bad tenant, right? So you qualify them before you waste your time going out to a property and finding out they're not even going to work out. They're not even going to fill out a rental application. But next is you actually show them the property and do so as a professional. You're dealing with hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars in real estate, and you want to be a professional about it. And by you being a professional, you're expecting them to act as a professional. When they come to your property, you want to see how they act. Are they late to their appointment? Do they disrespect you or the property while they're there? Are they slamming doors? Do they look dirty? Those kind of things. And that does get into the gut feeling of renting to them. But if they're mistreating you or the property or your time right up front, it's not somebody you want to have in your property because they're already doing it and they don't even live there yet. And so you don't want to do that for yourself. The next thing is you want an actual written application. Nowadays we do a lot of things online, and that's okay too, but you just want to make sure that you have an application for every adult. Anybody over the age of 18 who's going to be an occupant in that property needs to fill out a proper application to be approved. You can mix this around a little bit after you have the application, but I'm just going to go in the line that I have printed here. So specifically, you want proof of income. You want a copy of their last couple of pay stubs, and we'll get into that in a second. But you do want the income on those pay stubs to equal 3 times the amount of the monthly rent at minimum. Some people go with 4 times. You certainly don't want to go with less, because if it's less, they're not going to pay you rent. The next step is to pull their credit, right? Especially if you're using like Yardi or one of the softwares, Buildium or Appfolio. You get the application, you can pull that credit right away. But you don't want to just zoom right down to the score and say, oh, I'm not renting to them, or I am renting to them. You have to look. You actually have to look. Like, I don't pay a lot of credit to things like if they owe a medical bill or something. I don't hold that against them as much. But you want to look at that and make sure that they're paying their utility bills, right? You want to make sure that they're paying their car loans. And typically when you do it on a software, you can pull both their criminal, you can pull their credit and their criminal and their eviction history all at the same time. So the next thing we'll go over is the criminal background check. And so you want to make sure that you're renting to people that are going to be safe, and you're creating part of the safe community vibe, right? You don't want to rent to people that are criminals, especially anything real recent. If it's 25 years old, then I don't think you should concern yourself with that, unless it's certain things like, do you allow sexual predators into your property? I think not. Next is eviction history. And so if you're using a place where you can pull a specific report on evictions, has this tenant been recently evicted from any property in the last 5-10 years, don't rent to them because you're going to end up evicting them as well. If you're not getting that report, there's public records you can pull from the courthouse, or like in Pennsylvania where I reside, you can actually pull down, all civil and criminal information for free, right from the records available in Pennsylvania online. So it's important to pull that and see what's going on, right? You don't want to rent to somebody who's constantly being evicted, and we call them professional tenants, where they just move from property to property. If you're verifying their income, you're verifying them showing up on time, respecting you. You're qualifying them before you even show the property, making sure they have income. Do they have pets that are going to violate your rules? And when do they want to move in? Does it fit with what you're doing? But we're going to continue. There's a few things left. So a lot of people right away, the first thing they do is they call the current landlord where they're staying at now, and they do a landlord verification. Well, I'm doing my landlord verification, so that's probably the worst one to call. Maybe that landlord wants to get him the hell out of there, so he's telling you that it's a perfect tenant. He always pays his rent on time, and they just want to get him out of the property. That's not the person you should be calling. You should ask them always for the previous landlord prior to that as well. See, they're already clean hands of that person, so they can say the bad stuff now. They've already re-rented the property, so you want to talk to the previous landlord and ask the previous landlord, how was these people? Did they pay on time? Were they clean? Did they disrespect you? Did they disrespect other tenants? Ask them a lot of questions and see if anything that they say is going to throw up a red flag for you. Don't rent to them. In fact, a lot of professional landlords that have been doing it for 20 plus years like me, like that's one of the top things we look for. We don't run right to their credit score and say, oh, I can rent to them because it falls within my credit score number. There's a lot more details that go into this. And talking to that previous landlord is one of the top things that you can do. Also, besides the landlord references, you want to do an employment verification. So you want to verify that the pay stubs that they gave you are actually real, and that they didn't just find some app on their phone or computer and had some friend print out some fake pay stubs for them. You want to talk to the actual place, that you want to talk to their boss. And so really the best thing to do is call right to the actual place that they work and ask to say, I just wanted to verify to such and such work there. Even just talking to somebody to verify they actually work there goes a long way. Because there's so many things that can happen, right? You call those, and nowadays they'll give you an 800 number you have to do to verify employment. And some of those even charge money to do it. One guy I was talking to yesterday said he's seen one that wanted $150 just to verify employment. $150, and you're charging a $35 or $50 application fee. Like, this is crazy. So I like to call right to the place. Hey, if they work at a store, I'm calling that store. I want to talk to that manager and say, I just want to make sure this person works there. That's all. And at least you've done that. Next thing is, that final gut check. But you don't want that to be the first thing. You want all these other things done before you head in that direction of what's your gut telling you? Is this going to be a good tenant? Are they going to pay you rent? Are they going to take care of your property? You put a mortgage on this property, or you invested a hell of a lot of cash to buy that property. Don't you want to put the very best people in your property? It's going to help you make more money, right? It's going to increase the value of your asset. And you want to make sure you're doing the right thing for your property. Or if you're a property manager watching this video, the commission check doesn't matter if you're going to have to refill that apartment again in a couple of weeks or months because you put some jerk in that property. So do the right thing. Go through this filter to make sure you're putting good tenants in your property. Another quick tip that's not on this list, but I like to tell people this. It might not work as much nowadays, but if you could figure out a way to involve it, I think it's dynamite. What I used to do is say, um, while I'm processing the application, oh, I forgot to get you to sign this paper. So can I stop by where you're living at now and just get a quick signature on this so I can keep processing your application? Because I'm almost done, but I need this signed first. And just take something with you, you know, that you need them to sign. And that way you can see how they're living in their current apartment. So if they have a busted out window with trash bags covering it up, or they have a dog when they open the door for you to so they can sign it, or if if you even standing at the doorway, you're like, wow, that's no, I don't want that person. That's a true way to figure out whether or not that person's going to be good for your property. And I want to put a final disclaimer before I end this video. Always make sure you're consistent. Do not violate fair housing laws. If you do any one of these things, make sure you do it for every single person that you show a property to. You do not want to get sued for fair housing laws. So if you go to their home to verify that they're taking care of the property they live now, you do that for every single person. You don't want to just do it for one here or there, because if you do, you just violated fair housing laws and you can get sued for that. So be wise and don't violate the law. And so I hope this helps you in improving the type of tenants you're placing into your properties. It's very important. It's one of the most important things you can do with your rental properties, is make sure you're not just filling it with warm bodies. You're actually filling it with somebody who's going to pay you rent and take care of the property. I hope you're successful in your properties. I hope my channel helps you. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for viewing this one today.